right, cool guys, so let's all come in here and let's just start. You guys can all go once. Just start warming up your serve as if you were getting ready to play a match. And let me see how you guys do that. So just pretend your opponent's on the other side, you guys are warming up. What do you do to get ready to warm up? This is your warm up. So let's see what we got. Awesome. Let's see what you got there, Paul. All right, next, here we go, Doug. Let's see what you're going to do. Getting ready to warm up. Your first 3 serves in the warm up. I like how he's put the cap on back. So how those feel? How those feel for you, Chris?
Yeah, pretty good. Just starting out slow. Just working the arm a little bit, just loosening up. Not trying to hit too hard.
And I asked Chris first because what I liked what Chris did, and this is what I want to see when you guys go to warm up for a match, and we could see we kind of had all 3. Like Paul, you were jumping, you had both feet on the ground, and you kind of walked through it. And actually, I would like everybody out there when you're warming up is that you do all 3 and it's a progression. First, when you're warming up your serve, pretend like you are driving in your neighborhood, okay? Like you're in your neighborhood, there's lots of kids around, so we take it nice and slow. So that's kind of what you did. You could maybe even swing a little slower. But I like how Chris started out, he had both feet on the ground. Lots of people cannot, even if you ask them to, say, hey, serve with both feet on the ground and don't move, they would have a hard time doing this. Okay, we're going to see if everybody can do that. And it's a nice way to get loose and establish your balance, your rhythm, and finding the ball on the right part of the strings. Then after you get that warmed up, then the next thing you would do in your warm-up is to toss it up and step through. Toss it up and step through. Make sure you got really, really nice balance. And that's kind of what you were doing, although maybe you were taking a couple of steps after. But you want to see kind of like a pitcher, coming here after the release, being able to really feel the balance right there and establish that balance in the ground. And then after you do those for like 3 or 4 rounds, I probably, for like 2 or 3 rounds, if I'm playing a match, keep both feet on the ground. Then another 2 or 3 rounds, do the step through, and then my last 2 or 3 rounds, then do a jump. And I usually start with like a lazy jump. I don't start like trying to pound the serve. And most guys come out trying to pound that serve right away. So I don't care if it goes in or out either. I'm just basically trying to like lazily, whoops, that toss not very good. Just lazily kind of jump in there, okay? It's just a lazy jump. Again, I don't care if it goes in or out. And then as I get that lazy jump down, and you can see that power nose come kind of naturally, then my last couple of times up before the match starts, I'm going to go into my ritual, which is a couple of bounces, looking at the court, and then going. So let's see if all you guys can stand still and hit it. Your foot is not allowed to move. So Chris, let's have you go again. We already know you can do that. Maybe swing a little slower this time. Yeah. You can see he's got really good balance, and we don't care right now if the ball goes in or out. That's awesome. All right, let's see if you can stay still and what happens. Good, that's all right. He's falling a little bit. See if you can stay up. Stay up, and that was a lot better. Here you go, one more. Good. And so, does that feel a little awkward to do that?
Big time.
So that feels awkward for him to do that, so that means he's got to work on making that feel comfortable. See, and he's still moving through. That's okay. Hey, this is what we want to see. Better. You can see how much more balanced he was, too, as he was hitting that. Good. You feel how much more solid you were in those last two, and you're still walking through. So you can see, guys, that this is something that's challenging to do, is to be able to stand still and hit it. But if you ask anybody on the tour, hey, show me your both feet on the ground, show me a walkthrough, and show me a jump, that they would be able to do that. So let's turn on, we're actually going to turn off the camera for a couple minutes, and then let's work on it for a couple minutes to see if we come back and get everybody to stand still. So let's work through our standstill, see if we can get some good shots. Good job. So what we've been doing here is now we're trying to get all these gentlemen keeping their legs on the ground. We're having a little bit of trouble, but we decided we're going to do a little competition, in that the first person who takes a little step, is going to owe the other two a beer. So that, we'll see how that goes, and normally this can work pretty well because now you've got that pressure, measuring what you're doing. So even if you're out there practicing by yourself, it's good to make a challenge for yourself rather than just blindly practicing. Is make it count for something. Like if you're trying not to take a step, like every time you do it, maybe you got to do 5 push-ups or something like that. So you'll be surprised how quick you can catch on to things when that happens. So let's see how these guys do. The first one to take an extra step is out and owes the other ones a beer. Let's have Chris go first. And he's still in the game. Doesn't matter if he misses. Next. Yeah. Good. So, and Paul, who was having trouble with that, then steps up and makes it. And Doug makes it. Very good. Awesome. So that's good. Let's go again. Good. He's still in the game. Look, these guys really don't want to buy the other one a beer. I love it. This is a very cheap, competitive crowd, and notice how fast they corrected that mistake, right? So that was huge. So actually, we'll call it a 3-way tie. Maybe we should make it a double or nothing for the next challenge. Okay, good job. Okay, so now with the guys, what we're working on is the step through, and what I'm telling them is that you want to be able to hold this finish all day if someone asks you to. Have the balance all here. So we don't want to be going like this and then kind of like stumbling a little bit. We really want to be able to establish our balance. And we're going to be able to establish our balance on our serve, even when we go into a jump, we're going to be more in control of our body, okay? So let's see the challenge. We've still got the challenge going. Let's see how we do. You've got to be able to hold that finish, and I'm going to count out 3 seconds. Let's see if you can hold it for 3 seconds. 1, 2, oh, he's out. Now you all got to be able to establish it. Otherwise, this guy could be buying everybody. 1, 2, 3. And that was one of Paul's best looking serves. All right, here we go, Doug. 1, 2, 3. Very good. So, Chris, you owe. Okay, very good. We're going to go into the jump next. So now the third thing we're going to be working on is jumping into the serve. And 2 of these guys already said, well, I'm not a jumper. And I think if you're out there, you want to practice and see if you can do it, because that is the most advanced way to serve. But on the other hand, you really don't, to be a good 3-5 to 4-5, even 5-0 player, you don't have to jump. It's more important to establish that balance and consistency. So, and maybe some of you have some issues, because to get that nice jump, it's going to require a nice weight transfer. So you really want to get your weight established on that back foot, step up on in there, and really spring off the legs to get in there. Okay? What I was talking about to the guys, there's basically 3 ways to do it. You could do it in kind of a pinpoint Monfils style, which just has your legs together and then come up and jump. And you always kind of want to land on the front foot. Okay? That's going to leap into the court, and you're going to finish like that. Or you could do more of an Agassi Federer style where the legs are wider and they never come up and you jump up. Or you can do more of like a pat raft or rock back on in and jump up. But you really got to establish that power in your legs and spring yourself up and you know, it's not necessary that you do it, but let's just see how these guys do it, okay? So you can see, and the sun's a little bit of a factor out here. And he did one nice. So it's harder to establish that consistently. So if you're going to be a jumper, you got to practice the heck out of your serve. You got to be working on it all the time. He's got a nice power move into the ball. Not too much air, but he is getting a little bit of a jump in there. And we can see that he's added a lot of power to that serve. Good. Okay, Doug, try it. Good. So you can see that Doug, who said, hey, he admitted right away, I'm not a natural jumper, and that he was trying to jump, didn't quite get there, and that threw off the whole rhythm of his serve. So, you know, that's when you got to kind of weigh the pluses and minuses. Is this something you want to add to your game or not? Okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to work on is the stance, okay? So we're going to take a look at these guys' serve and their stance, because that's a very, very important thing, especially when you're talking about being able to add power and having a consistent serve. Because a lot of the power guys you want to be thinking about is coming from the core. So by this, we're going to really be setting up so you can use the core to your advantage every time for more power and control. So let's have Chris, you're going to go first, and let's see your stance, and we'll really take a look at that. And then what was that other stance you said you do in a match? Just a little bit out there? Yeah, right or out there. So he likes to serve in a match like this, so go ahead. And then he's got just a, now that's a scary thing to return. I've had to deal with that myself. Good. Okay, and then come on up, Doug. Keep your head up. Let's get this ball over the net this time. Whether it goes in or out, let's keep our head on the ball. You're dropping and looking too soon.
I am.
Also, don't let the ball drop so much. So we can see there on those, he's coming here and then he's coming down. So what he really wants to work on, keeping those shoulders up, head up, and more hit up on the ball as he goes. But nice stance. All right, Paul's up. Good. Okay, so we had a couple of different stances there. I noticed Paul throughout the practice, he's changing a little bit. All right, Chris, when he plays, he likes to kind of stand like this, and when he gives this big, nasty kind of knuckleball, he stands like this. And Doug's more here. And across the board, now they can all work different for different players, but across the board, this is how you're going to see more of a pro stance, like this. Paul sometimes is going from like here to here, so you want to consistently be getting more of yourself like this. And the reason you want to do that is so you can load up your core more. So if I'm bringing the racket and getting ready, if I'm keeping everything on this side, like Chris, if I'm keeping everything on this side of my body, I can't use my core as much. I'm forced to kind of come like that and can't use as much as my stomach for power. If I'm here, again, that's not loaded as much either. And lots of people get in this position, their arm gets to about here, they get here, and then they start going forward. And then when you're standing here, it becomes a lot easier to clear this path back here, which is going to be one of our main focal points of today's lesson, is being able to get back here, drop, and then use the core into the ball. So that's how you guys, if you want to get the advanced stance that most pros would have, you'd want to work on this. Okay. Okay. So where the rubber meets the road for a lot of rec players is being able to get themselves into a proper racket drop. If you watch videos online, you've probably heard this term at some point. And that's being able to come back, and when you go to serve, be able to hold that where that racket comes down, and you get so relaxed here that it's facing into your back, okay? These guys actually have a decent racket drop. It could get better. One person has a racket drop kind of like this, so they get the racket drop, but it's facing the wrong way, right? The part of the ball that's going to hit the strings. The strings are facing the wrong way as far as for an advanced level, so the racket drops here, and then you come through. You want to be down here. And then the other two have a nice racket drop, but at times they bring it more here and then down into this way. See, the racket drop is there, but to really get that going well, you kind of want to be thinking of your non-dominant chest. You want really sticking out to the side, okay? And then really getting yourself here. Then it gets a lot easier to get back here and then down and through. So we're going to go through some exercises on how we can do that. So let's just have all you guys up here, and we're going to get into some exercises.
Good. Oh, yeah. Good. That's great. Good.
Hold on 1 second.
You got me on camera now.
Yeah, he's choking.
I'm choking.
Good. All right. So we're actually, Frank just shows up here out of the blue. He had to do some things for his wife, a honey-do list. So Frank, come on over here. And we're actually going to have the whole group kind of work on, let's take a couple more looks at Frank's serving. He's got a nice motion. First of all, we've been talking about the stance. Notice how he stands, okay? So he's been playing for a while. I understand he's a former AA player. So he's been playing for a while. You can tell he's had probably some instruction throughout your, yeah. So he's got the stance down. Another thing he's got is kind of on grip. And watch how, when he comes back, he really has his chest facing out this way. The elbow comes back this way. And he's got no hitches back here. And you'll see the racket drop. So watch his serve here. Go ahead. No pressure. And that's a really nice motion he's got there. Nice flow. Good. So that all takes a while to develop. So we're going to do some exercises when we come back on how we can get that nice flow that he's got going. Okay? All right, so guys, let's actually come on in here. And let's just go through our first exercise. One thing I want everybody to do, this is something that we're going to come up here and we're going to do, is whether you like to have an abbreviated motion to where you kind of come up like Andy Roddick, or you like to come more traditional like Pete Sampras and come down this way, or like a McEnroe used to do, clear this way. I kind of like that a little better, but this is also fine. But one thing we want to do is we want to be able to be relaxed, and we want to make sure that racket goes in the right spot. And one of the things you can do to really make sure that happens, you got to be super loose in your wrist. See, if I'm not loose and I'm holding on to the racket too tight, it's going to be almost impossible to drop. And that's what a lot of people do when they go to hit. They're very tight, so they hold up here and then they'll hit that serve. But we want to be able to come down and just be relaxed. So we're going to come down here and literally just let this racket kind of dangle. So practice coming here and let it dangle down here and look and see if the racket drops in the correct spot. Let's see if you guys can do that. So just come, we can all come up at once, actually. The camera will catch you guys all. But just practice that. Coming back and let the racket, see it's a little tight. It's not that, you want to be so loose to where when you're done, it's literally like hanging. See, look at what Chris does. Do that again. Good. Now he's out here. He's got the idea. We like him back here, dangling. How's that? Is that okay for you? See if you can do that. Okay? And dangling. This hold, don't even worry about the holster. Yeah, that's better, Paul. He's kind of going to our next thing, but just come back here and let it dangle. Just hold, yeah. Now Chris has got the best relaxation. He's literally holding these two fingers, but he keeps coming out this way. He's wanting to be able to finish that way. Yeah, let's see you, Paul. Good. See if you can just hold. No, hold it. Hold it. Now look, this is one thing he was doing in his serve. Look where his chest already is. He should be more this way. Okay? Let's actually, if you guys could clear, let's have Paul come right up here because I want to really work with him here. So do that again, that drop. So go and drop and hold. No, I want you to just hold there. Don't worry about the whole thing. Hold. Now look again, his chest is facing this way. We want him to be positioned up like this. This foot, look at the stance. So you should be more over here with that front. There you go. So he wants to be able to come here and get himself here. Okay? That's what he wants to be able to do. Let's see if he can do it this time. That is a lot better. And now this time be so relaxed that literally I want to see that thing kind of sway back and forth because you're so relaxed. That's better. See how he's dangling? He always wants to come out there too soon. So he's got to keep working on holding it there. Okay? Doug, let's take a look and see what you do there. That's good. That was good. So you come here and just relax. Just do the stop. See, sometimes it's hard to break things down. We tend to be impatient. We always want to get the full thing going. That's pretty good. His elbow a little too high. I'd like it right around there, kind of even. Back here, and a little more there. That would be good. Let's see if you can do that one more time. Good job. Now that looked good. All right, Chris, come on up. That was actually perfect there, that he got himself in that position. Good, not bad. He again needs to work on being a little more here. He could step out a little more that way for that to be easier. Get himself in this position, and then he gets back there. So, also, I wonder, do you have any shoulder issues? Oh, yeah. He's got shoulder issues too, so that's another reason. Maybe for some people the flexibility just isn't there. So he might just keep working to get as far as he can, but he may not be able to fully get back there. He might want to do some more shoulder stretch. That's good. See, so he's getting there. So that's one thing you guys could do out there. Just practice that over and over again until you really feel super relaxed. People tend to be tight here. So what we want to do, I like to pretend that when I'm doing this, that I'm really super lazy bringing my racket back. Like I just kind of get my momentum going, and it just races up, kind of like it's going to be a roller coaster. I lift it up, and then it's going to shoot down, okay? And then once we feel it come down here, now we got to do a little bit of work. We always want to remain lazy, but we do a little bit of work and shoot out. So we're just going to come and try and keep that thing going consistently. Okay, so I like to teach my students to throw their racket. This is a great way to make sure, you'll hear lots of coaches talk about, you know, to get a good serve, you need a natural throwing motion, which is absolutely true. Although you don't want to think like you're throwing a strike on the field, you know, like a 15-yard or 5, 10-yard route. You want to be thinking that you are throwing a long bomb. So how would you get yourself, say if you're throwing a long bomb, you get down here and you'd have to throw that ball up. Well, we want to throw our racket up and get our body in that position. So this is going to force everybody, if they start in the right stance, to get the ball or to get the racket over the fence, they're going to have to throw up. They can't come here or else it's going to crash into the fence. So this is going to correct people out there who tend to come out too soon and hit their serve like this. You've got to come here and throw up, okay? And it's just a nice, relaxed release. So we got the stance, everything we've talked about today. We got the stance, we're clearing back here, a continuous motion, and up, and the continental grip. So we're gonna see how these guys do on that. Who's gonna go first? All right. Yeah. So we're seeing Chris, let's see how his motion is. We're going to get him in the right stance, get in that correct stance. Good, a little more this way. There you go. And really try and come back here towards the building, towards the trucks. Good. Look at that. And so we know we'd have to really throw up to make that happen. That was really, really good. All right, so here comes Doug with his throw. Let's see how his motion goes. He's got the right stance. He comes back and up. Now, one of the things that's happened earlier in the lesson is he was coming down too soon. We see he barely cleared the fence. Let's see if he can clear it higher this time. Now that was nice. If he can get that in his motion, that's going to be much improved.
Another one?
Yeah. Perfect, perfect. So that's a fun drill out there that kind of puts everything that we talked about today in play. We got the stance, we got the right rhythm of motion, the racket drop. That's gonna making you swing up rather than collapse in. So you want to take everything step by step we did today, and then come out, go to your garage sale and get some crummy rackets and just practice this. This is one of the best things you can do. Serena Williams, who maybe has, I mean, definitely the best women's serve of all time, but even if you look at the men's serve, I mean, her motion is just so good, and her father would have her throwing countless rackets over the fence. So this is something that everybody will improve your serve out there. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's lesson.